Senator Chris Murphy sounding the alarm about what Trump is willing to do to help the AI industry, specifically to keep them unregulated, which would be unprecedented for any American industry, certainly one this large, certainly one that will transform American society to not be regulated at all. That, and is AI actually behind Trump's war on the drug cartels? My name is Dina Doll for the MeidasTouch Network. Let's get into it. Now, first, let's go to Senator Chris Murphy, who talks about the first failed attempt. There was a bill that was attempted to be passed in Congress that would basically say that the states cannot regulate AI. Of course, the federal government could, but they're not doing it under Trump. This was actually trying to have the federal government prevent the states from enacting their own regulations of AI. Take a listen to what Chris Murphy has to say about that bill.
They want to be a totally unregulated industry. And so they said, Republicans, why don't you pass a law to ban states from regulating us? Like, this doesn't happen in any other industry, but because the AI industry gets whatever they want from Donald Trump, because these billionaires that run the companies are tight with Trump, Trump said yes. And Republicans tried in the spring to pass a ban on state regulation of AI, but they failed because that's wildly unpopular. Nobody wants that. People want AI, but they want to be protected from abuse. And so when the measure came before the Senate voted 99-1 against stopping states from regulating AI.
So Trump's first attempt to keep AI industry unregulated failed and failed miserably. Very, very unpopular bill because even old school Republicans don't like the federal government interfering with states' rights. And this wasn't about whether or not the federal government was going to do it, but allowing each state to come up with their own regulations or not come up with their own regulations. So this bill failed miserably. But as Senator Chris Murphy says, this didn't stop Trump. It didn't stop all the AI oligarchs, the ones. As we know, Trump loves his oligarchs, loves all the corruption around it, and the little quid pro quo that seems to be happening. So this first failed attempt, the fact that it was almost unanimously rejected, which would mean the American public also this is very unpopular, the idea that this industry that is going to transform our lives in perhaps very good ways, but also probably very bad ways for them not to have any kind of oversight and regulation. When you see Bernie Sanders out there talking and calling this out, saying AI is coming for our jobs. Elon Musk tries to pretend that AI is going to replace our jobs and we're all going to just enjoy ourselves. But Bernie Sanders calling it out for what it is, saying that the oligarchs are going to get rich off of AI and everybody else are not going to have enough jobs, aren't going to have enough money to put food on their table. The government isn't doing anything about it. Well, Trump is trying so hard to make sure the government continues to not do anything about it, continues not to help the American worker, continues not to put in protections around what this AI can do, is doing something else to try to help them remain unregulated. Take a listen to their new plan.
Guess what? The AI industry was furious. They came back to Trump. They said, we want you to sneak it in to some piece of legislation that has to pass. And so right now, as we speak, Trump, the AI industry, and Republicans in Congress are talking about putting that provision in the National Defense Bill. That's a really important must-pass bill. That's the bill that authorizes the defense of the United States of America. We pass it every single year.
Regulation is not the only issue that the AI industry is facing. It turns out AI needs a vast amount of electricity to run. According to the MIT Technology Review, by 2028, which is just around the corner, the consumption of energy for the data centers that basically drive that the AI needs and uses to function will equal the amount of electricity of 22% of United States households. 22%, a vast amount of electricity. Now, according to Forbes, China is using solar and wind for their AI boom. And that costs are because those renewable costs are cheaper than the dirty fossil fuels, they are keeping their costs low. But according to Forbes, Trump's own federal mandates that are pushing the United States away from renewable resources and towards instead the dirty fossil fuels of coal, etc., are making our electrical prices, our electricity go up. Did you ever think about how easy it is for somebody to break into your luggage? Well, Noble has completely removed the zipper. It's a zipperless latch lock suitcase that closes like a safe, keeping your passport, laptop, everything else safe until you land at your destination. But it isn't just the safest luggage out there. It looks great. And then it has these great components, which I love personally. As you can see, I'm traveling today. This is not my regular destination. Having a good piece of luggage is key. They have a built-in charging port so I can charge my phone while I'm traveling at the airport. They also have a front laptop pocket so I can take out my laptop to work without unzipping my entire suitcase in the middle of the airport. Over 500,000 suitcases have been sold, and they have the highest rated luggage brand in the category on Trustpilot. Plus, over 12,000 flight attendants and pilots already swear by Noble. They have a 100-day money-back guarantee, free 3-day express shipping, plus lifetime warranty. It is literally the last suitcase you'll ever need to buy. Noble gives you real travel peace of mind, security, design, and convenience all in one. For a limited time, Noble is having the biggest sale ever. Head to nobletravel.com for up to 58% off your entire order. That's NOBL travel.com for up to 58% off. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. As AI uses more electricity, our electricity prices will go up. Well, Trump and his henchmen all know this, but their solution isn't to push us toward renewable resources or perhaps to regulate the electricity consumption of AI. No, instead it appears that one of their solutions, in addition to keeping open dirty coal plants, is to tap the resources of Venezuela. Venezuela, as we know, has the largest oil reserves in the world. And this whole pretext, this Trump executive order saying he's going to war for the drug cartels and just bombing boats in the Caribbean with no transparency, no declaration of war by Congress, international community coming out saying this is a violation of international law. We're seeing Captain Mark Kelly and others come out and say to troops, don't follow illegal orders. The DOJ having a memo trying to give legal cover that's nonsensical. Personnel looking for outside counsel because everyone's very worried that this pretext sounds unlawful. Well, as it turns out, now Trump's cronies are starting to talk about the fact that they do want Venezuelan oil. In fact, Treasury Secretary, in his answer to how energy prices will go down, talks about how it will get better if we have oil from Venezuela. Now, as we know, Maduro is not a cooperative partner to Trump. Instead, he's calling millions of militiamen in counter to Trump putting the USS Gerald forward in the Caribbean. So when Bessent talks about tapping the oil reserves in Venezuela, he's not talking about a collaborative partnership with Maduro, who is instead becoming this hostile confrontation. How else are we going to get these oil reserves? Seems that maybe the USS Gerald Ford and all of our military things might have something to do with the fact that Trump and the AI industry know that the existing energy, electricity, gas, oil, etc. in the United States is just not going to be enough for the electricity AI needs. And they are now starting to talk about it.
And I think there's a very, very good chance that if something happens with Russia, Ukraine, if something happens down in Venezuela, that we could really see oil prices go down even more. And oil and gasoline prices are down substantially under President Trump. And that is really the key to affordability, is lower energy.
It's Dina Doll with MeidasTouch. Be sure to free subscribe if you haven't already, and check our sponsors in the link below. They never sponsor what we have to say on this Mistrial podcast.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.